Number 8. Joshua Dobson. English teenager Joshua Dobson had been evading police in the Greater Manchester area after stealing a Mitsubishi ASX and failing to pay for fuel in May of 2022. Later on, in August, officers went to arrest the 18-year-old disqualified driver at his Rochdale home. Dobson was nowhere to be found, but officers then noticed that a giant teddy bear slumped in the corner of the room appeared to be breathing. Upon closer examination of the toy, they found Dobson. He'd torn open the teddy bear's backside and, because of his petite frame, was able to hide inside its stuffing. Dobson was arrested and subsequently jailed for 9 months for theft of a motor vehicle, driving while disqualified, and making off from a petrol station without payment. Social media was inundated with puns when news of the arrest broke, with Rochdale police setting the tone by writing that Dobson was stuffed behind bars and that they hoped he'd have a bearable time inside. Number 7. Sarah Boone and Jorge Torres. On February the 23rd of 2020, Florida woman Sarah Boone called 911 and reported that her boyfriend had died at their Winter Park home. 42-year-old Boone claimed that the previous night, she and Jorge Torres had been playing a game of hide-and-seek while inebriated, and they'd thought it would be funny if the latter hid in a suitcase. Boone told law enforcement she then passed out in their bedroom and forgot that she'd left her boyfriend zipped up in the luggage. It wasn't until the following day, in the afternoon, that the woman remembered he was still in the suitcase and opened it up to find he'd fatally suffocated. Boone maintained that it had been an accident and gave officers permission to search her phone. 2 videos recovered from the device contradicted her version of events, indicating that she'd intended to punish her boyfriend for his past transgressions. The couple had a documented history of domestic violence dating back to at least 2018. In one clip, Torres was heard yelling at Boone from the suitcase and telling her he couldn't breathe. Boone laughed at him and replied, "That's what you do when you choke me," as her boyfriend continued pushing against the fabric and pleading for release. The woman told him, "That's what I feel like when you cheat on me," adding that he should shut up. A second video showed the luggage in a different position, with Torres calling out Boone's name and again stating that he couldn't breathe. When the woman was confronted with the videos, she reportedly couldn't bear to watch them and claimed that she didn't remember having recorded them on the night. She was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, with her trial set for November of 2022. Number 6. Wayne and D'Angelo Mitchell. Law enforcement in North Charleston, South Carolina, placed brothers Wayne and D'Angelo Mitchell in the back of a police cruiser while they searched their vehicle on November the 30th of 2011. The car had initially been pulled over because one of its headlights wasn't working. A harrowing video was then captured by the police vehicle's dash cam of an interaction between the siblings. 23-year-old D'Angelo told his younger brother that he couldn't afford another strike on his record and asked him to eat the cocaine he had in his possession. The older Mitchell pleaded with 20-year-old Wayne, saying that he was going to get a life sentence and adding, "You ain't got no strike, I can get you out." He then pulled out the cocaine he'd hidden between his buttocks and gave it to his little brother. Wayne ate the drug, but within 20 minutes had trouble breathing and holding his head up. D'Angelo yelled at the police officers and told them that Wayne was unresponsive. He told them he'd swallowed cocaine but gave no further information on the drug's provenance. Wayne died at a local hospital not long after the incident. Upon examining the footage, law enforcement charged D'Angelo with his death, and a local police chief told the media that he'd been left upset and sickened by the footage. In 2013, D'Angelo pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter and possession with intent to distribute, for which he was sentenced to 15 years in prison. Number 5. Edwin Valdemar Arteaga Perez. In July of 2011, guards at the jail in Chetumal, Mexico, noticed that a visitor was struggling to wheel out what appeared to be an abnormally heavy suitcase. 19-year-old Maria Del Mar Ajona had been allowed a conjugal visit with her common-law husband, Edwin Valdemar Arteaga Perez. The man was serving a 20-year sentence for various unspecified crimes. Ajona, who was pregnant at the time, had been allowed to take her suitcase inside for the visit. She appeared to have trouble with it on her way out and was consequently stopped and searched by corrections officers. They unzipped her bag to find Perez curled up inside while only wearing socks and underwear. The failed jailbreak was covered by multiple media outlets around the world. It resulted in Arjona's arrest and Perez being taken back to his cell and likely to have more time added to his sentence. Number 4. CARLITO VALE. In June of 2015, a man's lifeless body was found on a roof in Richmond, London. It was determined that he'd fallen from great height as the force of the impact had decapitated him and mangled his remains. Roughly 11 hours prior to the discovery, 2 men had hidden in the wheel well of a plane leaving Johannesburg, South Africa, and bound for the English capital. They were later identified as 24-year-old Themba Kabika and CARLITO VALE, aged 29. The latter was an orphan from Mozambique who'd made his way to Uganda and South Africa before attempting to find a better life in the UK. He and Kabika had learned how to hide on the plane by studying designs in books. They put on layers of clothing and jumped perimeter fences to gain access to the aircraft, and then made the extremely dangerous 8,000-mile trip. Wheel-well stowaways faced death at every phase of the flight, including being crushed by the landing gear when it retracts, succumbing to hypothermia or hypoxia, and falling from the well during takeoff or landing. As the plane approached Heathrow and before Kabika passed out from a lack of oxygen, he remembered that Vale turned to him and said, "We made it." Those would become the man's last words. Kabika had wrapped his arms through cabling near one of the engines and suffered burns, but the move ultimately saved his life. When the landing gears came out, he remained inside the aircraft, while Vale plummeted to his death roughly 1,400 feet. Kabika woke up on the London runway with a shattered leg and surrounded by guards. But he was allowed to continue living in the UK, where he changed his name to Justin and had hopes of pursuing a career in music. Number 3. DMEKKA MEADE and Roy Austin Walker. On May the 12th of 2022, law enforcement in Switzer, West Virginia, responded to reports of an altercation involving a firearm that had occurred at the Switzer apartments. Upon approaching the unit, Deputy C.L. Carter saw a face-tattooed man enter apartment 202 while attempting to elude him. Carter gave chase, but Walker exited the residence from the rear and fled into nearby woods. In spite of successfully evading the deputy, 26-year-old Walker was later found hiding inside a dumpster from the parking lot of Hatfields Market. He was arrested and charged with misdemeanor fleeing on foot. Meanwhile, back at the apartment, an unnamed female victim reported that 30-year-old DMEKKA MEADE had made threats to shoot her. A video later provided by a witness would show Meade hitting the other woman with a firearm. After a brief struggle, the victim took the gun from her and threw it onto an embankment near the apartment. Meade retrieved it and returned to the residence, where she reportedly hid it under a couch. The victim allowed Deputy Carter to search the home, and he found the 9mm handgun. Meade was arrested and charged with assault, battery, brandishing a weapon, wanton endangerment, and assault with a firearm. The relationship between her, the victim, and Walker remained unspecified. Today's topic was requested by Scott Funk. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Sean Maranzino. A suspected burglar was found hiding inside the air conditioning vent of a dentist's office in the New York region of Long Island. In March of 2019, Sean Maranzino, a man in his 30s, was discovered by employees of Calderon Dental Care roughly 3 hours after he'd gotten stuck inside the vent while trying to access the business. The vent in which he'd become trapped was only 14 inches wide. The workers alerted the police, who arrived at the scene, removed him from the ceiling, and took him into custody. The office's owner, Dr. Mike Calderon, reportedly started laughing upon recalling what Maranzino told him upon being found in the vent. He'd initially said he was looking for his cat, Sparkles, before claiming he was from the fire department and requesting a ladder. In the week leading up to the failed dental office heist, the unemployed HVAC specialist had burglarized 4 additional businesses in Suffolk County, in each case gaining access by hiding in the vents. In the early hours of March the 14th, however, Maranzino fell through the ceiling of a Jackson Hewitt tax preparation business in East Pachogue. An employee who'd been sleeping at the office came out with a shotgun and forced Maranzino out. The burglar had tried calming down the employee by claiming he was there to deliver vitamins and It was believed he'd actually tried to rob the pharmacy next door. In spite of his failure, Maranzino targeted 3 more businesses in the days that followed. Following his arrest, he was charged with 5 counts of third-degree burglary. Number 1. Joshua Jakes. Law enforcement in southeast London were called to a disturbance in Bermondsey in the early hours of April the 25th of 2022. Officers arrived at the residence of 64-year-old Dolette Hill, and after forcing their way into her terraced house, they came upon a massacre. The woman's 58-year-old husband, Denton Burke, was found stabbed to death at the bottom of the stairs. In the kitchen, officers found 3 generations of the same family, all of whom had suffered fatal knife wounds. The victims were Hill, her daughter Tanisha Ofori Akufo, and her granddaughter Samantha Drummonds. As they continued moving through the residence, the police discovered a naked man hiding in an upstairs bathroom. He was identified as Samantha's boyfriend, 24-year-old Joshua Jakes. Officers used a taser to subdue him and took him into custody on multiple murder charges. Jakes' motivation remained unclear, but there was speculation that drugs or mental illness had been factors in his knife rampage. During his court appearance in September, Jakes admitted manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility, but the prosecution didn't accept his plea, and the case was set to go to trial. Thanks for watching. Would you rather be on the run from the police or hunted by a serial killer? Let us know in the comments section below.